Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Pyramid Science Foundation's live stream. We're a day early. We're usually on Wednesdays, but our lovely guest couldn't join us until Tuesday. So we did it just especially for him, but you guys will be so excited when you find out who it is. We have an exciting show for you today. So let me give you a few announcements. We will be in Allentown next month, May 18th and 19th, for the Spiritual Holistic Expo. Charlie and I will both be there. And then I will be in Serpent Mound. I think it's by Peebles, Ohio, in June. So June 20th through the 23rd for the summer solstice. That's going to be exciting. I've always wanted to go to Serpent Mound. It's the largest effigy mound, I believe, in the United States, maybe the world. I'm not sure, but at least the United States. And it's shaped like a serpent that's swallowing an egg that's aligned to the north. So it's really super exciting. I also have a few of my expo products left over that are on sale. So you get 44% off on those, and the prices are already reduced. If you go to pyramidsurge.com. And soon I'll be having a Mother's Day sale so we can get your mothers some cool pyramids or some jewelry. I haven't announced that yet, but it will be coming in the next couple days. One thing, I wasn't able to talk because last time during our live stream, my internet was spotty. But I would like to say, the expo that we went to in Cincinnati, on my drive there, I was having kind of an epiphany. I got some messages that I wanted to share with everybody. So several years ago, when I got into spirituality and I got into mediumship and started learning energy healing, I was so excited to share that gift with the world, and I did for about a year. I was expecting it to empower people. But what I really was creating, what I discovered was desperation. Most people weren't listening to the first messages they received. They kept coming back for more and more and more, which there's nothing wrong with that. But I want to teach people that, we all have this power. That was what was so exciting to me when I first discovered mediumship, was that I was able to do it as well. Everybody is. It's like playing the piano. Some people are better at it than others. So on my way to Cincinnati, I did get the message that I need to start doing these again. And it's mainly because of that catalyst, that very first reading that you get, that very first energy healing that you get, that confirmation that comes through, that is so powerful. It's such a powerful catalyst to launch you off into what you're supposed to be doing. Okay. And so I want to start doing readings for people and healings for people again. I will very soon, but I'm going to shut you off after one or maybe two, but most likely one. And then I'm going to start teaching an intuition development circle. It's where you can do it too. And I'll teach you really to trust that internal guidance that we all receive. So stay tuned for that information, guys. I thought it was a real exciting message and just a new part in my journey. I love seeing where this life takes me, and it's taken me in a different direction every now and then. And you have to just listen to your guidance and follow it. That's what it's there for, right? So let me introduce you to, where's my little thing here? Our lovely guest today. We have Tomaz Mueller with us again.
Hi, Lisa.
Welcome, Tomas.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're so excited to have Tomas today. Let me read a little bit about what we're going to talk about. So for the intro, are you feeling overwhelmed by habits that don't reflect who you truly are? Do you suspect that unseen forces might be influencing your behavior or addictions? Join us for an interesting live stream event with Tomaz Mueller, an expert on energetic parasites, who will delve into how these hidden entities can affect our bodies and personalities. This is exciting. I'm really excited for this live stream, Tomas.
Same
I have
here.
so many
Same
questions.
here. Oh, that's cool. Just feel free to interrupt and fire those questions. I endeavor to answer them to the best of my abilities. No, you are right. It's a fascinating topic, but it's so huge and massive. And as I was getting ready for this conversation, I'm sitting down under my pyramid here, and I did a little bit of meditation. I thought, what's the best way to get started? And what sort of popped in my head is like, I guess we all agree that the entire universe is basically frequency, energy, and vibration. And we experience this universe as human beings in this cosmic suit here that we carry. um, we experience this universe through the lens of the five senses: sense of hearing, taste, touch, sight, and smell. And as such, we experience it through different colors. And each color, in essence, has got its own frequency and vibration, as we probably all know and understand. And human beings, as we look at human beings in its purest form, are basically white. We are basically white light frequency beings. And as we come into this physical body, this white light fractalizes into the colors of the rainbow, which are basically reflected in our energy centers, in our chakras, in our chakra system. So we have red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet as these fractalized aspects of pure white light. Now, each of these colors, um, alongside the color spectrum, alongside those rays, as they make up our chakra, our energy centers, and those energy centers are catalysts, are gateways to connect us back again to those subtle energetic, to our subtle and energetic body, if that makes any sense. And then also these colors in a way are reflected in physiological functions. So for example, if we talk about um, solar plexus energy, the color red, sorry, the color yellow, and thinking about which organs and organ systems are in that specific area, it is our stomach, the gastric juices, the first or one of the major aspects of breaking down our food. So this is how I would like to invite us and the audience to look at this conversation, that we are white light fractalized into the colors of the rainbow, and these colors are reflected in our energy systems. And the conversation now starts: what happens when we experience certain um, certain events happen in our life that actually make us feel sad, that make us that maybe contribute to any specific traumatic event. So let's say, for example, if we are experiencing trauma in our lives, for example, all of a sudden we lose our home, we lose our job, or we lose our loved one, and it feels like the carpet has been pulled beneath our feet. And what that does is it shakes up and it rattles the energies of our root center. Everything to do with feeling safe, for example. Um, and then, as we experience this sense of fear, as an example, thinking about the root center here, we open ourselves up. It's basically that we create those patches within our auric field. And these patches that are being created, it's basically lowering our frequency. And because we lower our frequency at that moment in shock, we are becoming susceptible for certain energies denser energies to come in. And then imagine that this beautiful red energy that basically is radiating in its purest form, ensuring that all the psycho-emotional aspects of our existence are in balance, that root center is being shaken. And then through this shock, it is almost like, the way I can describe it is as if there would be patches of black and gray that start to slowly change this beautiful red color of our root center, and starts to taint that original beautiful color, fractalized red, which is the original frequency that it has. Its original vibration gets changed, and that's where we then allow any of those. That's basically the entry point of those negative energies to come in. Does that make
Well,
sense so
then,
far?
y- yes, absolutely. And then, too, when we're rushing by somebody, even though you're not physically connecting with them, your aura is. And you can pick up some of those energies, even if they're not yours. If you're in a low vibration, just traveling around, you can pick up some.
Exactly. And what happens there is, this is when the parasitical energy sort of takes place. So because of that event, I brought the example of the root center and any kind of um, aspect that is linked to feeling unsafe and unsure. Because of that dimming of that light, because of that tainting of the red color of the root center, we become vulnerable to those energies, and those energetic parasites come in. We allow them to come in to feed off our fear, to feed off the emotions that actually are related to the various centers. So fear center, talking about the root center, talking about sadness, lack of joy, the sacral center, and so on. So that means they come in and they continue sapping this energy out of us. That means, that's why very often when we are in those clustered, crowded spaces, we may feel energetically drained, or we may feel like, when we have a conversation with somebody, we were perfectly fine, and then all of a sudden we go away. Oh my gosh, I feel so anxious now. I've never felt anxious in my life. Why is that anxiety comes in? Because that other person who has a lack of that root center energy makes up for that lack by making us feel unsure, unsafe, bringing that fear into our field. And this is because, if we are not aware of the importance of raising our frequency, raising our vibration, keeping our energy system clear.
What are your thoughts on therapy? You know, most of the time when people are suffering severe trauma, they're taught to go to therapy and talk about it. They continually talk and talk and talk, which is reliving that in their mind, reliving that in their energy field in their body
Absolutely. And
over and
basically,
over and over again. Is that causing more of a hold into,
I I believe personally, I believe that is the case, because what we do is we stir the mud. So what happens when you stir the mud? There's more mud
Yeah.
coming to the surface. So, and by actually talking about it, we keep feeding these emotions, and that makes us vulnerable even more and more for those energies to desiphon, or to sap um, those energies from us. Because if you think about it, let's talk about denser energy fields. We can talk about demonic energies if you so wish, but that's an entire different conversation to talk about different shapes and forms of those denser energies. But they, in essence, are also light beings, but their light has been dimmed to a very, very, very low frequency level. And in order for them to keep existing, to keep living, in order for them to keep existing and living, they need that light to nourish themselves. So they attach themselves to that light energy and that light frequency. And basically, this is how we feed those energies. So, exactly what you have described, if we keep living in that fear, if we keep reliving the situation, we are just feeding those energetic parasites. And it doesn't necessarily help to heal. It seems that we are cutting off in this conversation. Are you back?
Oh, yes, I am. That's what I some for some reason it's getting a little choppy on my side, but I checked online and your voice is coming through perfectly clear, so it
Okay,
must
so
be
I'll
my connection for some
I'll
reason.
just keep going through. This is also fascinating. As soon as we start talking about those energies and demonic energies, there are these glitches that happen because they don't want us to talk about it. And when I do, for example,
Yeah.
sessions with clients, what um, often I realize is that it is those traumatic events where we try to compensate. So, for example, let's use another example of the solar plexus. Okay, solar plexus, as we know, is the color yellow, and people that have a weak solar plexus or trauma in the solar plexus often have been bullied during at some stage within their lifetime, so their power has been given away or being sort of traumatized by a bully who basically needs to feed off that energy by making someone else feeling small. They feel bigger, and then what happens is the actual victim then becomes the one who victimizes others. So talking about the solar plexus, basically, like I said, it is often then the bully who the one who is being bullied becomes the bully in this context. And this is how we keep repeating patterns in our life. And when I do sessions with people, there are certain patterns that we carry. For example, certain addictive behaviors that we carry. And these addictive behaviors is there because we have got in our energy field certain parasitical energies sitting that keep wanting us to be addictive, so to a certain substance. Talk about alcohol addiction primarily in the solar plexus, or sexual addiction primarily in the second energy center. So those parasites, they want us to stick to that addictive behavior because this is how they get their nourishment. So, and initially, what I find is when we start working to clear those energies, they don't like the idea because they are being caught. They are being asked to leave our energetic field. They are being asked to leave our auric field. And there can be a resistance. And basically, in the treatment that I do, which is called Soul Center Healing Hypnosis, which has been developed by the beautiful Laura Whitworth many, many years ago, and one of the steps of this technique is to get people into a theta brainwave state into a relaxed state, where we then can go and do a so-called body scan, and where we then look at on which part of the body are do we feel any kind of tension, any kind of stress, any kind of discomfort? Because the stress, tension, discomfort in the physical body is often an indication that there are some earthbound spirits, so spirits that basically could have been asked or have been in a situation where they had to leave their physical body all of a sudden, and they don't necessarily realize that they are gone, that they don't have anymore that physical body, and they are sort of floating around in our energy field. And those beings could be, for example, beings that have struggled with certain addictions. And let's say, for example, alcohol addictions. And those beings, at that moment in time, they latch onto our field and they want to relive the addiction by making us feel addicted to certain substances. So, by going through this hypnosis or through this theta brainwave state, we also look at past lives. Past life regression is part of the process, because not only do we carry those denser energies and parasitical energies, earthbound spirits, demonic energies in all the hierarchy that the demonic energies and forces come with, not only do we carry it from this lifetime, but also from past lifetimes. There is the element of our ancestors. What are ancestral curses, for example, that we may have encountered that prevent us from being successful in our life, or that may prevent us from becoming healthier or even being able to meditate? So, all of those things come to the surface. And in a session, it's almost like I'm I'm talking to those demonic energies. And Lisa, I have people seen changing their facial structure, their voices change as soon as you tap into that and basically talk to those denser demonic earthbound spirits or different energies, and their voices change. And it's almost like I become somebody who is in a hostage situation, try to negotiate and making those energies realize that they have no place anymore to hold this person down, to preventing them from experiencing higher states of consciousness or awareness, or preventing them from experiencing joy, happiness, fulfillment, safety in their lives. So there is so much that um, we can actually talk about. Basically, once we have identified those energies within the field of the client, then it is about finding ways of helping them to move on, helping them to understand that actually maybe they don't have a physical body anymore, and they are just latching on to the person that may have experienced some weakness at a particular moment in time, and then they have just found a way in. So let's take the example when you go into hospitals, graveyards, any kind of environment where there are accidents happening, battlefields, there are so many dense energies that actually are lurking around there. Take the example of an hospital. So, as somebody who has been perfectly fine, maybe has been in an accident, they end up in an hospital, and because of that accident, a fractal of themselves has been split off and allows for a gap within the energetic field, allows for some of those beautiful clean colors of the energy centers to be dimmed. And then in the hospital environment, another person might have just passed over, and there's the spirit floating around, the earthbound spirit floating around. And that earthbound spirit is maybe looking for a person where they can continue their um, bullying nature, because they have been a bully all their life, and they come in. And that's when very often people who have undergone or have had accidents, they can change their personality from one second to the other, and you don't really know why all of a sudden have they become a different person. Does any questions, Lisa, uh, with what I
Can
have
you
just?
hear me okay right now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I was wondering, can you pass these on? Like, if you're in a low vibration and pick up an entity and then you interact with somebody else that has a lower vibration than you, and that entity sees an empty vessel in that person, can they jump from you to the other person?
They can. And this is where it is so important to look after your own energy field, to use tools such as the pyramid to keep raising your frequency and your vibration on a daily basis. I tend to use the word your spiritual hygiene regime, although it doesn't sound very glamorous, but I don't have any other word of how what to say. But basically, that's where our responsibility comes in, that we ensure our frequency, our energy is as high as possible, and that's how we have been asked to deal with our own shadows, so that we are not in a weak position where um, those demonic energies and entities can actually pass on to us. And this is also what happens often in a womb. For example, if the mother has carried ancestral patterns, and um, then these patterns can be passed on to the child, which means they keep going from one generation to the next. And some of those demonic energies, what happens is, if they are beings, for example, or human beings that are towards the end of their life, and they had an energy parasite that has caused them certain destructive behaviors, and as that person, human being, is towards the end of their life, they can't get enough of that energy anymore, and then they use the next possible opportunity to jump on someone else so that they can feed their addictive behavior. And that's how they get their nourishment from, and that's how they can then get their energy from. So to answer Lisa's question, yes, definitely they can. But I want to say here something very important. And there is a lot of stigma around entities and earthbound spirits and demonic entities. And I believe this is probably very much because of upbringing, because of religious upbringing that we face. So there is no necessary need to be scared of, to be afraid of, because if you look at the flip side of those darker energies, it is light. So it is because of our trauma, it is because of our experiences that have caused us to be grieving, to feel lack of support, to feel afraid. It is because of those events that we grow and remember again that we are, in essence, this pure white light. And all of the shadow work that people do of trying to get those fractals back again, to build the whole human being, to bring those light frequencies back again into one unit. So this is a wonderful opportunity, because our soul has chosen to come and be incarnated at this point in time, because we have the greatest possibility to deal with the shadow aspects of ourselves, to transmute them, to wash off any of those tainted spots within our rainbow color scheme, so that we can become again this pillar of pure white light. A wonderful opportunity. So we don't need to be scared of, we don't need to be afraid of those energies, because they teach us a lot. And we will, um, whenever we are willing and ready to transmute some of those addictive behaviors, and they can be even thought patterns, repetitive thought patterns that we carry in certain situations, because those thoughts also are energetic parasites that latch onto us. Because as we go around in a loop, feeling we can't get out of our destructive, low frequency, negative thought patterns, excuse me, at that moment in time, our frequency lowers back down, and we find it difficult to connect to our higher self. So, what I find is that with people that have difficulties really to connect to the inner core, to connect to the higher source energy through meditation, it is because there are denser energies sitting within the field that actually prevent them from connecting to source or connecting to light. And treatments or treatment approaches such as soul center healing, for example, or any kind of entity release programs are giving us the opportunity to clear those energy fields, so to seal off our auric field, and to ensure that we are within a safe space, that we keep our vibration as high as possible, so that we are able to link directly to source and link directly to this true um, light energy and light frequency being that we are. So we have chosen to be incarnated here on earth because it will help us to remember again who we are. And Lisa was mentioning at the beginning of this conversation with regards to um, messages and basically channeling information and all of that. So I always say, be aware of the person that actually channels these messages, and be aware of who they are as a person. Because if we are not, if we are coming, or a particular person is coming, for example, from a space where their energies are infiltrated, the message that comes through will not be a pure and clean message. And trust me, these demonic denser energies, they can be very susceptible, very deceptive. So basically they can make us feel as if we are completely connected to source, and we can see the light, and all of those experiences can come in. But it might be that it is just kind of tricking us into believing that they are connected to source. So I'm just saying this because I have been around the block for a while. I've been around for over 35 years, 37 years now, until from the moment where I started to question reality and looked at life and my purpose in life. And I've seen a lot of people within the so called spiritual community who draw people into their field and basically make them dependent on each other. And this is why I very much second what Lisa has said. It is about becoming self-sufficient, becoming an exponent of knowing all of connecting again to that original wisdom that is there within our field. We just need to remember again, rather than becoming dependent on a practitioner, dependent on a person, providing people the tools so that they have those skills themselves is so crucial. Because anybody who sort of believes that it isn't hard work, it is an easy ride, actually is being fooled. Because clearing up those traumatic, denser, low frequency energies, looking at our behaviors, our behavioral patterns, can be quite a challenging process, because we might find ourselves in a situation where we question of who we are. I mean, that's all part of the dark night of the soul. And even a couple of weeks ago, I was having moments of where I'm thinking like, how do I actually know that I am on my path? So these questions and doubts, they may creep in, because we need to heal certain wounds. And for me, it was healing around the sacral energy, which is the energy that linked to the mother, the divine feminine energy. And that was also linked to finances, stability, and all of that energy sort of all of a sudden was like, who am I? And I realized that actually, how do we know that we are on our right path, or that we are on the path? We know that that's the case if our path actually disappears. So you are living in full trust, in the full not knowing. And this is when you know that you are on your journey. So as your path disappears, we don't really know what's going on. And that's when we learn to rely on ourselves. That's when the self referral process becomes so crucial. And how do we know that we are doing something that helps us, helps to serve others? It is because we don't know anymore where we are going and what we are doing. So all of this actually has been an interesting realization for me, um, to help people understand that we are all on a path, we are all on a journey, and we all have got our demons that sometimes want to be fed, and that we allow to be fed, and that lower our frequency, lower our vibration, and that can then affect our behavior, where we think, oh my gosh, how come I was reacting in this situation like that, where normally, for example, I'm very calm and quiet, and all of a sudden I'm starting to blow up. Where did that come from? Because maybe we have been triggered, maybe we have allowed ourselves to basically being um, being infiltrated by those parasites that sap our energy field and make us do things that we would normally not do. So, and one of the things that you may want to try is, when you are out there in the field, when you are coming from a visit, for example, in a busy village or city, or when you have been in a place where there are lots of crowds is to actually clear your energy field. And one of the things that I always sort of encourage people to do is to just brush off the energy of your arms about 3 to 4 times, right and left, really brush it off. And then you go across from one shoulder, let's say from the left shoulder to the right hip, right shoulder to the left hip, and so on. You just brush it off, clear your energy field a few times, about 4 times. You brush it off your back and your legs, and you feel instantly, you feel much better after you have done that, especially when you have been in crowded places. So do this brushing off, okay? Going from one shoulder to the opposite hips a few times and your back. And the last thing you do is symbolically you grab all the cords and attachments that may have leashed onto you, and you just chop them off. So grab them with an awareness that any cords, any dense energies or parasites that might have leached onto your energy field, grab them, those cords, chop them off, and there we go. So that's a very, very quick but effective way of clearing our energy field. And then, of course, the pyramid in itself, the structure of the pyramid, the energetic energy of it, and especially the crystalline sand within the pyramid, when you take time in the morning to sit down, do your meditation, is a wonderful way to not only clear your energy field, but also to protect it. And there are various ways of how you can do it. Um, One of my friends, Joanne, she always, I remember she said to me a couple of years ago, what she does, and I really like that, is like when you take a shower in the morning. Thank you, Christine. When you take a shower in the morning, I didn't even realize that there's a live chat going on. You see, I'm so in my talking. So thank you so much. Any questions, Christine or Ram? Any questions you have, pop them in the chat. Uh, Lisa's left out. And anyway, where was I? So Joanne, she shared with me that one of the things that she used to do is that when she steps into the shower, she visualizes this high frequency, clear diamond frequency light washing through her field system and body, and then also visualizing in the shower the anchor that basically roots us back into the earth. Visualize a pillar of strength growing down from the base of your spine or through the feet, through the roots of your feet, through the soles of your feet, anchoring down into the earth. Ground, cleanse, and protect. And then when you step out of the shower, you dry yourself up of, envision this invisible armor that sort of clicks in place to protect your energy field. So I do believe that as our consciousness, collective consciousness rises, as we raise our vibrations and frequencies, the light becomes stronger. And as the light becomes stronger, the moths tend to fly towards the light and try to sort of come for us and trying to dimmen our light. And that's why it's so important to actually um, cleanse, ground, and protect our energy field on a daily basis. Also, I think Lisa is somewhere back again. I have created this essential oil blend, which is called Divine Defense. And I'm not sure if I have shared the story, Lisa, on here, but basically a couple of years ago, I was sitting in meditation and I had this download, and I'm somebody who always questions. So I was like very skeptical. I thought, where did this information come from? Am I all making it up? Anyway, so I was sitting there and I heard frankincense, myrrh, galbanum, the selection of 6 biblical oils that needed to be put into a roll-on stick that then can be used as a defense mechanism to raise our auric field and to prevent from any negative energies. And I was given, Lisa, exactly the proportions. So when you work with essential oils, it's all about the right proportions of these oil mixes. And after the meditation, I quickly sat down, I wrote it down, and I was even given the base oil, which base oil to put it in. And I thought, "Oh, this is really strange and weird." And then I forgot about it. I just like, oh, yeah, it was one of those meditations and sort of forgot about it until about 2 years or 1.5, 2 years ago. I had another dream, and I believe, okay, take it or leave it, but I believe that somehow I was tuning into Merlin's frequency, okay? Because I heard that in my meditation about a year ago, what about this oil? Why haven't you done anything with it? And this basically gave birth to the Divine Defense Essential Oil Roll On that you can put on to certain energy points or marma points on your body, not only to deepen your meditation practice, but also for protection. Here we are. Lisa is back. I feel like I have been walking like a waterfall, trying
Well,
to.
I'm glad you can just roll with it because I don't know what's going on. I have Starlink and it just keeps popping on and off.
Okay. Any questions, Lisa?
Well, I was kind of just gonna make a statement. I don't know. Let's get your perspective on it. But ideally, even if you have entities attached to you, you're still in control this whole time. I mean, it's kind of like when you're drinking alcohol. When you get to a point where you open yourself up and allow, you're not yourself, you change,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So it's kind of the same. As long as you put your foot down and you make the rules, you tell them to get away, get out of there, but a lot of us, I think, just get so used to the feeling of them being there all the time, it becomes part of who you are. And
Yeah.
so when it comes time to release them, you don't want to because you're releasing a part of you now. Do you know what I
Exactly.
mean?
That's so true. And then what I experience within the sessions is that it's important that once you remove those entities, those energies, not only to seal off your auric field, but also to fill that void, fill that gap that is left with the frequency of high vibrational white light, as an example. So that actually what patients or clients always experience or often experiences, they feel completely tired, exhausted, and they feel like, oh my gosh, I identified myself with this addiction, with this habit, and then all of a sudden, what now? What am I going to do now? You know, and
Yep.
these questions pop up. And like you said correctly, Lisa, we all are constantly being challenged and exposed to those energies, but it is about recognizing when they actually take over, recognizing when we lose control and we hand over that control to, let's say, those um, spirits or demonic energies that cause any of the addiction, sexual addiction, smoking, alcohol, and drugs, for example. When it gets to the point where we start showing self-destructive behavior, then definitely there is something that we have been invited to look at. And I truly believe I'm not sure what your views is on that, Lisa. That a lot of people that are actually in mental hospitals, mental institutions, they are under the influence of drugs and medication. If there would be a chance for that person to experience an entity release session, I think about 50% of those people that are declared as mentally insane and unstable would be
Yeah.
able to live a normal life again.
Absolutely, I believe that too, and I believe a lot of the mental torment is coming too from entities that are picked up by brushing by other people's auras. So they're picking up feelings, thoughts, feelings, emotions too from those people that are
Hmm.
not even theirs in the first place. So they don't know how to deal with them because they're not theirs, you
Yeah,
know? But I really
exactly.
truly another thing I wanted to say real quick while I'm actually able to talk.
Before we let's let's not manifest losing you again, Lisa.
We're getting rid of these tech demons today.
Yeah,
um, but I really feel like some of our most powerful light warriors are the ones that are struggling the most right now, the ones that are struggling deep with drugs, deep with alcohol addiction. And it just makes sense. That's who they'd go after. The ones with the most light. They want to keep them down, so we don't overcome them because that's the whole point, right? We're in a spiritual war and we need to
yeah,
figure out how to win this spiritual war.
yeah, yeah.
So,
And important also is not to be too judgmental about it because, like I said earlier on, without those addictions, without those repetitive thought patterns or habits that we carry, we wouldn't be able to grow and expand. They help us through our
yes.
pain body, through our sadness, grief, um, fear, anxiety, worries, through all of those low frequency um, emotions that we carry, we are able to actually remember again that we are in essence pure light, pure
Yeah.
light and of the highest frequency. And by us recognizing that, healing our wounds, dealing with the shadow aspects, not by pushing them under the carpet, not necessarily by just feeding those demons,
Mhm.
but taking a bird's eye perspective, realizing when we are caught in the trap of those demonic energies. And that realization on itself ensures or helps us to actually clear them and helps us getting rid and change our behaviors and our habits and our patterns.
Yeah. Yeah, you can let them fester or you can dance with the demons and, experience what the real light is. That's the only way you're gonna realize how to overcome them, right?
Yeah, and some people just have chosen to dance with the demons, and that's okay.
Yeah.
It's about the choices that we make at any given moment in time. And it's our choices, and it's up to us to sort of take responsibility. We can't then later on point the finger and say, oh, because this person has said that thing. And this is where um, I don't know if you heard me saying while you disappeared, when you said that actually giving the here she is gone again. Oh no, back.
Okay.
Um,
I heard a
giving
little
the
bit.
re- giving the responsibility back again to the person rather than making the person dependent on your um,
Yeah.
channeling, on your messages. It's so important to help people remember of all of that knowledge and wisdom that is deep within us. We've just forgotten it, and this is where
Yes,
also
we are so powerful. We need to remember that, We
exactly.
need to remember how powerful we truly are. I mean,
Oops, cutting off again. You know what? I'm so glad in a way it's not me because very often it's my internet that actually pops in and out. Um, so basically, what Lisa is saying is so important and so true. The responsibility lies with us again, and it's about what do we want from life? And if you ask yourself the question, do you live life or is life living you? So if you answer that question with life is living you, then you have given the power and the control to someone else. Someone else can't fix our life. We can only fix ourselves. And unless we take full responsibility for that, unless we learn how to deal with certain situations, with certain interactions, be it in a personal relationship, be it in a work relationship, until we learn to speak our truth and bringing these aspects back again to the surface, we are constantly almost like a victim of those denser, low frequency parasitic energies that just take us on a ride. And they just, and a lot of people are basically puppets of those demonic energies. And they are puppets without necessarily knowing. A lot of people know that they are being played at and they are being puppets. And especially within the, oops, have I said that, or am I going to say that within the film industry and music industry, all of those people very often, many of those people consciously um, choose to become puppets of those darker demonic energies because they gain something from it. What do they gain? They gain fame, they gain that kind of platform where they can basically feed their own egos. A lot of people don't know that they are puppets, but a lot of people know that they are puppets. So I still believe, or I feel like I'm hoping to be in a position, if I am being taken as a puppet, that I will remember that I'm a puppet and then go and cut the strings and become my own independent um, being again. Lisa, back again. Any questions?
No, not yet.
Are there any
This has
questions?
been fabulous, though. But yes, let's take some questions from the audience.
Yes, please.
Or well, I'll bring up some comments as well. There were some good comments too. So this was about your oil. Tracy said it smells amazing too.
Oh, Tracy is here. Hi, Tracy. Lovely to see you.
Nicole says doing qigong exercises also raises your vibration.
Exactly. And this is the thing. We have to, not have to, we are being invited to actually figure out what is it that I need, what is it that resonates with me in this now moment, right here, right now. And it could be qigong today, or it could be a certain meditation another time. It could be anything, working with crystals. So, and it is also okay that that approach can change without judgment, because a lot of the time um, we are thinking then, oh, this person has changed, who's no longer the same person. We have to allow people to explore their own existence, their own dimension, and different realities within this existence. And it's okay because we all
Yeah.
change. We constantly evolve and grow and expand.
I know I can't stand that saying that says people never change because we absolutely change every day. you know?
every every second within the
Yeah.
course of 7 years, nothing anymore is the same within our physical body. Our cells constantly change and evolve and grow and expand. Yeah, I just wanted to briefly link again to parasites. So there are parasites that can manifest physically within, for example, our system, our colon in particular, in our various organs and organ systems. And these parasites, think about it, Lisa, what do they feed off? They feed off sugar, They feed
Mm-hmm.
off alcohol, they feed off refined carbohydrates, and these alcohol, sugar, refined carbs, the artificial colors, flavors, all of that is another parasite within our reality. These are the um, people talk about sugar mafia, for example. So these external parasites cause us to be addicted and attached to them. So what I found is that often, if you haven't got the mental strength to stick to a very strict routine, or let's say stick to a very strict nutritional regime that fights the parasites, I'm talking about anti-parasite diet, for example, some pitta constitution from an Ayurvedic perspective, they are able to follow that diet to the dot, okay? But there are others who struggle with it. But what I have found is as soon as you remove those energetic parasites, naturally the physical parasites no longer have a grip on that particular person. So it works both ways. And uh, I just wanted to throw that into the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. I mean, that's what we learn in energy healing. Everything starts in the energetic field before it manifests into the physical.
Exactly. Exactly. So, um,
Well, Tomas, let's bring up a couple more comments or questions, and then I want you to tell people how they can find you and about some of the new things that's going on with you.
okay.
Cannon says, excellent.
Lisa is cutting off. Let me just. Okay. I'm just reading Cannon's comment. I'm a sugar addict. I have a dry mouth and I use pieces of candy to help me. Water doesn't work and I can't carry around a drink with me. Will get rid of them. Definitely, it's a way of, there's never a one size fits all approach. For some people, diet might be the right way that they can handle it. But like I say, is think about cleansing, clearing, protecting your energy field. And maybe if it feels right and if you feel called, think about energetic parasites. Think about those earthbound spirits that may float around our energy field. And even AI, I haven't even touched on that with regards to computers, the scrolling, the internet, all of that are hooks that actually hook us into the parasitic environment that change and alter our behavior. And maybe going on to digital detox might be a very good way to explore um, any of the addictions that you may have. But very often, and I have found this, Lisa, in the last 6 months more so than before, those demonic energies, they are quite deceptive. They like to make us believe everything is rosy, and they like to trick us and fool us into believing that everything is fine. But actually, their deceptive nature is so deeply rooted that we are often not capable of distinguishing what is actually our behavior and what is coming from the outside. And I'm saying this because then in that situation, some somebody from the outside, through various healing modalities such as yourself, Lisa, has the opportunity to come in and to look at that person and to help clear those parasitic energies from our field.
Yes, absolutely. Let me do a couple more. This was a nice comment. You could say the puppet strings are the energy cords.
Exactly. Exactly. And there's another element to it, like, and this is where, as we rise our vibration, like within the spiritual quotation mark community, we often talk about cutting cords, energetic cords. So I have noticed within my work that I do that cutting cords is not enough anymore. You also need to, now please, I can never remember how to pronounce this word, to cauterize the ends of the cords, to
Oh,
basically still
cauterize.
cauterize
Yeah,
them so that no these energies can no longer attach again, because we may cut out the cords, but if they're not cauterized, what will happen is the next best opportunity comes and boom, they are back again in our field.
absolutely. Yeah.
Okie
Yep. I
dokie.
just wanted to bring up one more. Where was it? I don't know if you read this one. I brought it up earlier, but Cannon says, "You have such a beautiful vibration, very clean and soothing. Thank you."
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So, oh, hold on one second here. Okay. Tomas, why don't you tell everybody what's new in your world, about your retreat and about some of the things we were talking about earlier?
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for giving me the
How
opportunity. Yeah. How they can find me? Well, you can find me on TikTok. So Thomas TikTok at Tomaz Mueller on TikTok. Yes, we run retreat center up here in Scotland, in the Scottish Highlands, or on the foothills of the Scottish Highland, a beautiful place where people can come and go through detox programs. They can just come and chill, learn how to meditate, use some of the shamanic practices. So people can come also to experience these hypnosis session in person. But also the hypnosis session is, most of the my clients are all over the world and they are done online. And so that's one of the way of how people can work with that. Also, Lisa, 3 weeks ago, Daily Om has released my first course. So the course is called The Power of Quantum Physics for Self-Healing. So people can go to Daily Om, which I believe is an American platform similar to Mind Valley and Gaia and all the others. So you can find my course there. And it's really, really, really a wonderful course to understand the dynamics or understand the principles of quantum physics and quantum energy healing infused with the Ayurvedic understanding, because my main training is in Ayurveda. So, how can I use quantum healing, quantum physics, quantum principles for my own benefit when it comes to healing? So, that course is available. And we just checked yesterday. The course has only been out for 2 weeks, and already 1,600 people have enrolled in the course, which I'm quite pleased and quite happy about.
Yay. That's
And then also,
exciting. Congratulations.
thank you. And also, this is ready to be released. My second book, which is called Mindful Alchemy. And this is the first hard copy that I'm holding in my hand. We still need to iron out a few formatting issues, but that will be sorted very soon. My screen is blurred because I've got a blurred background. Forgive me. So you can actually subscribe or go to the website. I will send or give the links. Yes, here we are. Um, you can go to the website, and then there's a pop-up window, and you can register to be notified when you can order your copy from anywhere in the world. So this has been going on, the course, running the retreat. And besides of that, Lisa, as you know, we have moved to this place in the Scottish Highlands about a year ago, completely empty. I really find solace and peace in restoring old furniture, restoring and upholstering to basically create unique pieces for the center. And the rooms that when people come and stay are actually rooms that are linked to the 5 elements. Three of them,
Oh,
one.
very cool.
So it's like the earth element. So all the colors, the fabrics, the textures of the bedding, the blankets, the furniture is very much in the earth theme to help us being grounded. Then we have the emotional body or the water room, which is Jala. So it's all about the water element, and people have a view out on the lake, and the colors are reflected that. And then the last room that we are currently working on, which is the teachers, which is the fire element. So the rooms have been designed to reflect those energies. And yes, for me, creativity is one way of how I can clear my mind and basically switch off. Although I must admit, uh, my partner Dan struggles very often to pull me away from the desk, pull me away from my thinking hat of work mode and so on. So I sometimes need a little bit of a push because I can be quite pitter, quite hot-headed, and if I get my teeth into something, I find difficult to let go. So personally in my life, I have to learn to find balance between work, relaxation, or work, rest, and playtime. So Lisa is gone, but basically she asked me how and where you can reach me. You can go to my TikTok account. There are lots of useful videos on TikTok where I share some of the health aspects linked to Ayurveda, some Ayurvedic principles and guidelines. You can go to the website and pre-register for the book. So hopefully, keep fingers crossed, another week or so, and then we can release it and people can order it. It will be order on demand to keep the costs down. And the book has got beautiful elemental artwork in it that people can use for meditation. So just to show you, this is the earth element. This is the artwork. Why is it all funny? The artwork. It's okay. It's fine. I've got it now. So that's the artwork. I commissioned an artist from New Zealand to actually do the artwork of the book. So you have the possibility to basically order a high quality copy of the book with high quality images that you can use for your meditation, or you can use a watered down version or a cheaper print quality depending on the budget. So here we are. Let's just see, are there any other questions that you have? Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, Lisa, for having me. Thank you, Tracy, for popping in. So lovely to see you as always. If you have any questions, just get in touch with me. You can also book a free discovery call if you have more questions with regards to the Soul Center healing hypnosis session. I will play the outro and end the stream. Okay, I think we are ready. I would like to say thank you again to Lisa and Charlie for having me on and giving me an opportunity to share and to speak. So thank you and sending you lots of love. Big hugs. Lisa, we are ready for the outro. Thank you. Love you too. Right. How do I disconnect now? That's the question.